Okay, so this is our Diamond Retreat special call with Christina, and she is a 6-star qualifying coach. She's 2-star qualifying in her second business center. She has been a coach for 6 years and was a top 10 coach in 2010. So she's going to talk to us about her top 10 journey and also the top 10 trip and a little bit of fun stuff of how she got there. And just start off by telling us a little about your story. And I'm so excited that we connected as success partners. And she's just the best ever. So she's got tons of knowledge. So I'm going to go ahead and mute myself because we're kind of loud over here. And you do your thing, and we're so excited to hear from you.
Yeah, and as my success partner, you know that I'm easily distracted, so thank you so much for that. Thank you, April, for the amazing introduction, and thank you for having me here as part of your retreat with your wonderful ladies and their beaux out there on the lake. So I'm super excited to share with you a little bit about kind of my journey with Beachbody over the last 7 years, and kind of how I got started and how I found my success, and also the things that I screwed up, to be quite honest. Like, what did I get right and what did I just totally bomb on? So those are some of the things that I'm going to share with you as we go through this today. The first thing I want to kind of let you know is we're going to be covering a ton of information, and I don't want you to walk away from this call going, oh my gosh, like, my mind is totally blown. I want you to pick just a couple of nuggets that really resonate with you and see if you can take those back to your business and kind of drive the force forward as you move forward with your business and with your success. I'm loving seeing all the kiddos on the call today too. All right, so let me tell you guys a little bit about who I am and why you care about what I have to say. I have been with Beachbody for almost 7 years, and I have seen some pretty substantial changes over those 7 years. We came from our infancy as a company, and we grew, and our training changed, our product line changed, and over the course of those 7 years, I learned what works and what, quite frankly, doesn't work. So I want to share some of those things with you today. As April mentioned, I'm a 6-star qualifying diamond, and hopefully this week I'll go into 7-star qualifying. And so I have a little bit of experience in developing leadership. But when I first got started in the business, I was lost. You've heard the story time and time again about how people come on board and they are overweight, they're depressed. I mean, you've heard it. You've heard the gamut of all the things that we come to Beachbody, all our baggage we come to Beachbody with. And I am no exception to that rule. I had depression, I was overweight, I was dealing with postpartum issues. You know, I had that with me. I had that baggage when I came to Beachbody. When I got started though, it was super important for me to build a financial income for my family. So I was threatened with the idea of having to go back to work with a brand new baby, and I really wanted to be able to be home with that child, and so I needed a way to make money from home. And so I jumped in with this thing full force, and when I started, Success Club was brand new. It literally started the month I started with Beachbody. We started Success Club. And so back then, it was a new concept, and the top 10 was really a new concept as well. And it's changed a little bit since then, and I'll go into some of that in a little bit. But when I first started, I just asked the question very simply, how are you successful with this business? And everybody that I respected said Success Club is the key. So there are some things that haven't changed. Success Club is still the key to your success. So I said, okay, well, this Success Club thing is the key. Let me see if I can figure it out. So I jumped in and I was pretty good at it, the Success Club thing. And so I went to my sponsor one day and I said, hey, I'm pretty good at this. Tell me what I can do to get this other thing. What is this top 10 thing? Like, how do I achieve that? And he quite frankly told me, you can't. That's for people that have been around and who are more experienced and have more knowledge of the business and have a larger client base, and for people that just have it together and you just don't yet. And said, okay, I'm gonna take that and go do this thing that I want to go figure out. So I went and I did some digging and the P&P, and I figured out what top 10 was. And at the time, it was really based on our own performance. Whereas now top 10 is elite, and elite is based on the performance of your team and yourself and a lot of different categories of success. Back then, top 10 was purely based on the number of Success Club points you had. So if you had a month with 30 Success Club points, you had 30 points. And if you had a month with 100 Success Club points, you had 100 points. And so it was a very different thing. It was really about yourself. It was really about your ability to drive your business yourself. And I want you really to dial into that, because that's going to bring about some of the things I did wrong in that first year. So the only thing I needed to do was get Success Club and do well at it. And I did that. I came in ninth in my very first year. I started February 26th, 2010, and for the year of 2010, I was top 10 in the company. So, and I think that my sponsor actually telling me that I couldn't do it probably drove me a little bit harder, because I'm a very competitive person. And so by being told that I can't do something, some people that will break them, for me, it pushes me to the next level. So what are some of the things that I kind of did wrong that first year? Back then, we didn't have challenge packs, we didn't have challenge groups, we didn't have corporate training. So I would bring in a lot of people that were counting on me, and I didn't really know how to help them or how to grow them or how to help them repeat what I was doing. So now we have all of these training programs, and I really want you guys to figure out how to take what Beachbody is giving you and don't recreate it. Or figure out what April is giving you and don't recreate it. Make it yours by putting your own spin on it, but don't take it and rewrite it. I know April and I use training from even other leaders outside of our teams, because this business is about feeding you guys the best we can with the resources we have available to us. And in that first year, that's one of the biggest ways that I failed, because we didn't have the resources we have now. So one of the biggest things that you want to do to repeat and improve upon what I did is use the resources that you have available from April and from other leaders. Don't spend time recreating them. Don't spend time worrying about them being perfect, because they'll never be perfect. And just take them and use them the best you can. And as you use them, you'll figure out where you want to change things and where you want to improve upon things. But the key is to start. So a lot of times I'll have people say, well, it's not mine, it's not perfect, I need to re-record these videos, I need to rewrite this, those things take time. And as you're using that time on those things, that administrative stuff, you're stuck in your business. So you're not moving your business forward, you're not helping your coaches, you're not progressing because you're spinning your wheels, sharpening your pencil, so to speak. So that's one of the ways that I could have really improved in my first year, is to be able to give better resources and a system of duplication to the people that I was bringing into the business. Another way that I could have vastly improved, believe it or not, I was super successful, but one of the ways that I failed miserably, and I still struggle with today, is a solid follow-up system. Follow-up is the key. It is absolutely where you're going to make your money. It is absolutely where you're going to build relationships. So if you have a system to follow up with your challengers or to follow up with your new coaches, you're going to build those relationships. So even today, so this goes back to, don't worry about it being perfect, just put something in place. It could be paper and pen, it could be an app, it could be anything, it could be your Google Calendar, but do something that works for you and improve upon it over time. If I had a solid follow-up system my first year, I could have probably doubled the amount of production that I did, because I was talking to so many people, which we'll get into in just a second. I was talking to so many people that had I had a good system, I would have been even stronger, even more successful. So one of the key elements of how I did succeed in that first year is I had an enormous amount of people that I was talking to. A lot of times I feel like coaches think that if we talk to 1 or 2 people, or we talk to even 10 people in a week or in a month, that that's going to drive success. I talked to hundreds of people in a month. It is mind-blowing looking back. So one of the elements of your success will always come from how many people you can build enough relationship with to feel that connection and that trust, present them with an opportunity, get commitment, and how many times can you duplicate that as quickly as possible. I know that sounds awful, but the key is how many people can you get in front of, and how quickly can you do it, and how can you have a system of follow-up so that when they don't react to you right now, today, that in 6 months you can say, hey, now are you ready? Because as you're going through your list again in 6 months, you're going to want those people to reconnect, re-engage. So the key element that I did well in that first year is I talked to a ton of people. I would say between 75 and 100 people a day. Okay, I really want you to let that sink in for a second.
This woman talks to 100.
That is a ton of people. And I don't mean like I formed them and I invited them to an event. Remember, we didn't have challenge groups then. We were just trying to connect with people and sell a product. Connect with people, get their goals, connect them with a product. We didn't have challenge groups. We didn't have challenge packs. Things were so much harder. And it was more about, let's connect. Let's get you keyed in with a product. Let's get you on your way to success. So I did have kids then. I look back, I really look back and I'm like, oh my gosh. But I don't remember. It's a decision. And this is one of the things, the last things I was going to cover with you, and I'll go ahead and cover it with you now. Top 10 is a decision. It's a decision to commit to not having a life for at least 1 to 2 years. Is it for everybody? Absolutely not. It is not for everybody. It's not on my goal list anymore. It's something I did. I got the t-shirt. I'm happy. I got to party, and we're going to talk about the party in a second, but I won't do it again. But this is the thing. You don't have to go to that extreme to do the steps that get you the success and maybe come in top 100, top 200, and you be balanced. I want you guys to learn balance so that you can be with your kids, so you can be with your spouse, but you have massive success. So if you decide that you want to go out and buy a new car, buy a new house, you can do that. Because one of the biggest things that you will learn as you grow over time, and I think as I get older, is that money is not important. Money has no value. What money does is it creates for you a lifestyle. So your lifestyle with money versus without money is going to be vastly different. The kinds of foods that you can eat, the kinds of vehicles you can drive, the kinds of vacations you can have, those things are going to be vastly different based on whether or not you have money, right? That's the reality of it. At the time when I first started, I couldn't even pay my bills. Like, it was that bad. I was dirt poor. So I needed to create that income, and that big, huge why that I had drove me to that success. So I don't want you guys to ever get caught up in, well, this business is about money. No, this business is about lifestyle. It's about creating great lifestyles for you so that you can do whatever you want. Like, if you're driven by, I don't know, collecting historical artifacts that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, then you can do that. Whatever your jam is, you can go out and you can do that because you'll create that income. Now, so let's go back and recap what brings that success. A great follow-up system so that when you talk to people and they kind of are like, whatever, you can go back and talk to them again, because 9 times out of 10, it's the timing thing, period. Okay, so you can go, because people's lives change within a couple weeks or within a couple months. Their lives, their dynamics, their circumstances, it's going to change. So the opportunity is going to look different for them based on what's going on in their life, right? So a great follow-up system is absolutely critical, and talking to a ton of people is absolutely critical. You guys have the tools now. You have the training now. You have crazy amounts of information now. You can become an information junkie. Use it. Create a system that is simple and repeatable. Utilize what April has been teaching you guys and bringing to you and feeding you guys with, and push that back out to your own organizations. And you've got the foundations of your success. Like, that's all you need to do crazy amazing in this business, is a great follow-up system, a system to plug people into, and don't overthink it. Let it be simple, and talking to tons and tons of people. Because here's the thing, in that first year, I didn't make all that much money. Like, I'm going to be totally real with you. I did not make all that much money. And that's not something that people talk about very often in this business. They don't say, well, in my first year, I wasn't making any money. But if people will get through that moment of, oh my gosh, I'm not making any money, this sucks, I'm talking to all these people and I'm not getting anywhere. If you can get through that, that's where your success is. Your success lies on the other side of that. So, and I feel like people quit before they get from, this is not fun, I'm talking to too many people, to, oh my gosh, I'm cashing these huge, monstrous, 5-figure checks every week. It's crazy how fast it grows if you get through that moment with a good follow-up system and with a system to plug people into, so you're not constantly babysitting people, because that's not what we're here for. We're not here for that. We need to let them own their success. One of the things I really want to talk to you guys about, and I promised April I would try to keep this down to 30 minutes since you guys are doing all your fun stuff. I don't want to keep you too long. One of the things I want to talk to you guys about, though, is Top 10, specifically the trip. When I went for Top 10 and I had that conversation with my sponsor, I had no desire to go to France. I was young, I was naive. Everything I'd heard about France was horrible. The people are rude, it's dirty, you don't want to go there, it's gonna stink. And see, I didn't want the trip, believe it or not. I wasn't even interested in the trip. I was interested in the recognition. Because as we've learned, people are driven by different things, right? So for me, I was driven by money because I needed to pay my bills, and recognition. I wanted to prove that I could be that top 10 coach. So I was like, well, you know what, whatever. I may not even go on this trip. Like, I'm cool with that. I won't even go if it's that bad. So I get in and I rank in 9, and I've got Barbie Decker calling me on January 1st, 2011. And she's like, girl, what are your points? I'm like, okay, well, here's my points. And she's like, oh my gosh, I think you're 9th. It's not official. We got to wait for everybody's points to come out, but you're 9th. I'm like, oh. So it's this moment of like, we're all waiting for it to come together. And it was crazy. So I win the trip and I decide I'm going to go. Okay. Make a decision to get childcare for my 3 children so I can leave the country for 10 days. And I've never left my kids before. Like, my one child was, gosh, she was 2 years old. So I never left the country before. I cannot put into words the experience that you will have if you go for top 10 and you achieve it. We laugh about having to give up a year of my life. And we laugh about, at this point, because it's changed a little bit, the point structure's changed a little bit, it could be as much as 1.5 to 2 years to build it, because you have to build the foundation, and then the second year is when you get your top 10. It was worth it. They flew us first class on a plane that I had never even imagined being able to fly in the sky. It was bigger than a hotel. It's called a super bus, if you want to Google it. I had never seen these things before. They're double deckers. They have restaurants on them. I mean, I thought I was on a cruise in the air. And we flew first class, so we had these fully reclining beds, and they brought us food. I'm in culinary school, and we were fed food on that plane that I had never even fathomed existed. We got there, and it was an incredible experience. We went from tiny little village to tiny little village, and we saw parts of France that you just don't typically get to see. We were in southern France, so we saw vineyards, and we saw villages where they don't really have a lot, nestled up in the hills, and it was amazing. It was a trip of a lifetime. But to dig a little deeper, I got to take this trip with 9 other top 10 coaches and their guests. So there's 9 other coaches out there that I've spent 10 days of my life with, bonding. I mean, relationships that still today, gosh, it's been 5 years, that can't be broken. Those people know that you could reach out to any of us and we'd be there. And then on top of that, as we've grown, it's been harder to get access to corporate people like Carl Michael. At the time, we had Brett Blake on with us and Jeff Hill. It's harder to get access to those people now because they're like celebrity figures, right? We spent 10 days arm in arm with them, traveling through the countryside. It was incredible. Them and their spouses, and Mike is buddies with, the corporate guys. And that when they see him, they get it. They're like, oh, they connect, right? That's the part that you can't put a value on. Those relationships, you can't put a value on that. And so it might sound crazy to work those kinds of hours, to put yourself, your soul into something that deeply. But that, if I had that knowledge in hindsight, that's what those trips are like, I would do it again. I would do it again, because that's something that you can't experience in any other way in this business. And it's relationships that are there forever. They're there forever. So this is something that you've ever considered, or if it's something that you've ever thought, well, maybe, I say go for it. Or if you're saying, oh, well, I just want to be top 100 or top 200 elite, I say go for it. And don't ever let somebody tell you you can't. Don't ever let somebody tell you that you can't achieve greatness, regardless of what that greatness looks like, because it can be done. It can be done. I am 30-something. We'll just say 30-something. And that was a trip of my lifetime. It's not something that, it was a $20,000 per person investment by Beachbody. If you guys want to look at the type of trip it was done by Butterfield and Robinson. You can go look at their website. Crazy trips. And the one we did was biking through southern France. The investment was $20,000 a person. So you can imagine what kind of itinerary we had, what kind of food we were eating. But more than that, it was about the relationships. So it was, even to this day, it was definitely the experience of my lifetime. So I say, if it's on your radar, talk to April and see if she can give you the tools that you need to take that ship forward. Just to recap, again, some of the things that you guys really can implement to build, whether it be to build to your next rank or to build to elite or to top 10 or to be top coach. How awesome would that be, right? To be top coach. The biggest things that I can tell you is that you need to have a follow-up system in place. You need to be plugging your people into tools. You need to be a director of resources, not a babysitter, not somebody that spoon feeds. We don't have time for that. You're a grown-up and you're running a company. So you need to be a director of resources, know where to direct people and send them there to get the information, and be talking to a lot of people. The people are out there that want your help. You just have to find them. And unfortunately, we have to talk to hundreds of people that aren't ready to commit to get to the ones that are. So those are the things that I would say would be the biggest implementations of your success. And figure out what that looks like. Figure out, do I just want to hit Success Club consistently every stinking month? Do I want to hit elite? Or do I want to go for top coach? If you go for top coach, I want you to call me when you get there, because I mean, you just have to decide any of this stuff. It's just like our clients with their fitness. They just have to decide to have the success. All right, guys, that is all I have for you. But I do want to open up. It looks like you guys are having so much fun. I'm jealous. I do want to open up for questions, because I wanted to leave enough time in case you guys wanted specifics about anything. I would have time to do that for you. I do have to tell you, you guys are very close to me. I'm in Raleigh. I'm about 2 hours from the lake. So Mike's like, are you going there to teach them? I'm like, no, I'm not going to crash April's party, but I am going to. That would have been so much fun, because it looks like you guys are having some amazing time. Anyway, tell me what questions you have.
Question. How did you keep track of talking to 100 people a day?
See, that's where I failed, right? I didn't keep track very well. Talking to that many people, you can't really keep track. So what I would do is I would keep talking to people until I hit one that said yes. And then I would keep track of that one that said yes, and then I would go talk to more. My follow-up system stunk. It really did. I'm going to be completely honest. Like, it was bad. But if I had that piece, I used paper and pen mostly, and I would write names down, but it wasn't anything elaborate that it needed to be. So had I kept track of those 100 people a day, could you imagine the list I would have to work from? Okay, it would be crazy. But I didn't, and so I don't. Just recently, I was going back through my Facebook page, I think 2 days ago, and I ended up deleting over 2,500 people that I had talked to in like 2010, 2011, that I wasn't really engaged with anymore. Or my niche market has changed, just for different reasons. But it was mind-blowing to me how many of those people were from that chapter, so to speak, in my business. The key really is to keep track. I was told that time and time again by top leaders like Monica Ward, Barbie Decker, people that, Barbie Kalev, I'm sorry, I've known her for so long that I really struggle to get the name right now. But I was told that time and time again, follow-up was key. Follow-up's key, follow-up's key, you gotta follow-up's key, keep your list, I'm like, what? Whatever. I just want to talk to more people. I don't want to keep a list. If they're not interested, I don't want to talk to them again. I just want to keep talking to more people. But follow-up really is key, and you can't follow up. You can't follow up without a list. So regardless of how post-it notey your list is, you've got to keep one. And I didn't do it well. So I know that I could have been extremely more successful had I had a tool Now, just like our business has changed, Beachbody has changed significantly over the course of the last 5 years, so has social media, and so has tools that have been developed. Like there's a ton of CRMs now, or different planners, or different ways to keep track of information. And we didn't have those things then. We had notepads and, or like Evernote's been around that long. But I didn't keep track. Just to be completely honest and transparent, I didn't keep track very well.
How do you keep track now?
I am actually in the process of testing. I'm in the process of moving from one CRM to another. I have tested every CRM on the market since, and for those of you that don't know, CRM is a contact relationship manager. So I've tested various ones for this business over the course of the last 5 years, and I'm still trying to find the one that's perfect for me and for our business. I'm currently testing Nimble, and it seems to be the closest fit that I've found. So the great thing about Nimble is you can be in Facebook, and there's a plugin you can have on Google Chrome where you can open the plugin up and click a button, and it'll import the Facebook contact information. So it doesn't import like phone number, email address, and stuff like that, but it'll import their profile so that you have that. I need something for me and my personality. I need something quick and easy. It's not going to be high maintenance. It's not going to be a ton to keep up with. And Nimble seems to be working now. It's got the task manager in it, so I can, every time I import somebody, I can put a reminder to follow up. Every time I import somebody, I can put notes as far as what I talked to them about. And that's what you really need. You need something that you should not expect your brain to remember, if you're talking to 30 people a day, to remember what you talk to those people about. You need a system that you can put that information into so that it can basically be your brain. So that when it sends you a task reminder and you're like, who the heck was that? You can go in and go see everything that you have left notes for yourself. It's almost like leaving notes for your future self.
Can you access that from your phone, or is it a computer only?
I can't access it from my phone. It's not as fluid from my phone, and you don't have the plugin from your phone. But there is a Nimble app, so you can pull up your tasks, you can pull up your contacts, everything like that. The last CRM that I tested, it was very robust, but it didn't have any mobile capabilities. And for us in our business, we really need mobile capabilities. I will say that Barbie is wired a lot like I am, in the sense that we need simple and we need things that aren't going to take a lot of time to maintain. And she uses Streak. I know a lot of the leaders use Streak, so that's another one that you can look into.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm happy to help you guys, and I'm so excited. And I just want to say congratulations for qualifying for this trip, this retreat. You guys look like you're having so much fun at the lake, and just congratulations on the success you've had so far. You guys are doing fantastic, or April wouldn't have you guys at the lake treating you to such a wonderful experience with your men, from what I understand. It was coaches and a guest, if I understand correctly. So I am really proud of you guys and all the success you've had. So whatever you are doing, things that you're doing right, or you wouldn't be able to be there, right? So the key is implementing and continuing to implement pieces, and realizing that this is the biggest thing that I think, the biggest aha moment for me, is I always want things to be perfect. Like when I implement them, I want them to be perfect. And if you do that and you think like that, you'll never implement anything, because you're always looking for the perfect. You're always looking for the thing that is exactly what you want, or the training that you've worked so hard on and it's exactly the way you want it to be, and now it's ready. It's never going to be ready. So if you can just embrace the fact that nothing will ever be perfect, and start with what you have and just go forward with that, then you'll find so much more success. And I think that's the biggest thing that's held me back over the years. Like we're talking about the CRM. I always wanted to find a perfect one. And what I've realized is I have to try different things, and eventually I'll find the one that works the best. And Nimble seems to be sticking. I'm actually, it's sticking. In the meantime, in the background, you're probably thinking, well, 5 years, how are you testing stuff? I'm always using paper and pen, always. So as I'm testing these different software programs, I'm always recording things on paper and pen until I find one that's like sticks.
Okay, well, thank you.
Yeah.
I just saw in the chat, Debbie said, oh, I'm so close to you. You up on the screen over here. I took
and you just worked out, girl.
We stink over here. Okay, so Debbie said, how many times do you follow up with someone when you get no response to an invite or a no to an invite? And then we'll end with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so I do my initial. I'm working from. Let me back up a little bit. I'm working from my like page. So a lot of my contacts come in through ads, and a lot of my coaches' contacts come in through group interaction, Facebook interaction, typical networking, or Instagram, those types of things. So those are all, they all kind of fall under the same thing, right? So once you have that initial conversation with somebody, that initial, hey, how are you conversation, whatever that looks like, it's common, right, for people not to respond, even if they said, I'm totally interested in whatever you're doing, and then you send them that first, hey, how are you? What interests you about what I'm doing? They don't respond. I have gotten a system down now where I will send three follow-up emails, and they have to be spaced correctly. So what I've learned in marketing is that, and everybody's going to have their own opinion, so this might be a good question for April later down the road too. But what I've learned in marketing is you have to strike when the iron is hot, so to speak. And if you reached out to them and you got no response, you want to reach out again within 24 to 48 hours, and then again 72 hours after that, and then again like a week later. And then if you don't get a response, you have to put them on the back burner. And so you might invite them again in 6 months, or invite them again in 3 months. But at that point, for whatever reason, you're not getting through to them. So again, 24 to 48 hours, an additional 72 hours, and then typically the following week. If I don't get a response, then I'm like, done. Because what's happening at that point is you're spending time following up with that person instead of going out and finding new people. Right?
Yep. Do you follow up with that person just with a general conversation, or do you get right to the point, or it just depends on how you're?
I am big on asking questions. I teach my coaches to be very patient. Patience is key, and I ask a ton of questions. So the questions can be about fitness. They could be about family. So typically it's just question. And people want to talk about themselves, so they don't mind that. And so as I'm going through their questions, I'll eventually get to fitness questions. And then I'll eventually say, awesome, well, I have an idea about your goals, but I have this group coming up, and I wanted to know, are you interested in me sending you the information? Can I have permission to send you the information about the group? I don't just plow the information about the group, okay? So then I get the information about the group to them, and then I ask them a series more questions. And then once I get them partnered with the program in my own mind, I'll ask them again for their permission to send them the link to the program. But it takes me a lot of messages to get to where I give them a link. So it's a very patient, drawn out process. Now, mind you, it only takes typically a couple days, but I never go right for the jugular anymore. It's not my style anymore, so to speak.
Okay. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Christina. We had so much fun. I hope you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Thanks for taking
Yes, you too. I'm sorry we stayed a little bit longer than we had planned, but great questions, and I really enjoyed being with you guys. And you guys have a great time, and keep the pictures coming because I'm loving it. I'm living through your fun.
Yay! And we hope to get to meet you in Nashville. And
Yes.
I'll send you a message, and we have to pick a time to meet soon. And you have a great weekend. Thank you so much. I'll send you the recording.
Yes, thank you. All right, guys, have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.